everybody, Lord Tremendous here. Got another battle report here for you. This is the Squarebase Online Tournament 2, Game 6. This is something that I've been participating in once a week since October, and it's been a ton of fun. This is a 2,000 point tournament, and this game I ended up playing Orcs and Goblins. Haven't run into them yet in the tournament, and so I was really excited to go up against this individual, especially their army. And it is very one-sided. Spoiler alerts, this one is not close by a landslide, and ends up with a 20-0 loss for someone. It could be either of us, so sit back, relax, and get ready to see the carnage. Here's my list, and please keep in mind this is a list that I made back in October, the last minute. I'm not disappointed with it. I'm disappointed with some of the decisions, but I've learned a lot over the months of playing this list that I have incorporated into my newer list, as you've probably seen in some of my games. So if I sound bitter towards certain units, it's valid. It's valid. So here's my general, a high priest, Edamedagasi, at 460 points. He's my general. He's on a bone dragon, level 4 wizard with the lore of illusion, a lore familiar, talisman of protection, and a serpent staff. Then I've got my second high priest, Bernice. She's 247 points on a skeletal steed, level 4 wizard with necromancy. She's got the warding splint, ruby ring of ruin, and a serpent brooch. And then I got Baby Mage, my mortuary priest. He's 115 points, level 2 wizard with elementalism and the amulet of the serpent. 672 points a corps consists of 13 skeleton archers for 65 points with hand weapons and war bows, 10 skeleton horse archers for 120 points with hand weapon, light armor, and war bows, 8 Ushapti at 399 points with hand weapon, heavy armor, great bows, and I threw an ancient in there because I had the points, and then 2 necro serpents for 80 points with ambush to terrors below, and I should have spent the points on anything else. 154 points in special were the 2 Tomb Scorpions mandatory choices. I gave both of them Terrors Below. And in rare, I have a Necrolith Colossus and a Necro Sphinx, both of which I would set on fire and do a video dedicated to their burning if I had the real models. Here's my opponent's list. He was playing Orcs and Goblins, and it's a pretty straightforward but solid list. He has 999 points in characters, starting off with his Black Orc War Boss at 341. He's his general. He's on a wyvern. That's how I say it. Laugh if you must. He's got full plate armor, shield, a great weapon, trollhide trousers, and the Talisman of Protection. He's got a Goblin Odd Knob at 225 points, level 4 wizard with elementalism, had a lore familiar and a ruby ring of ruin. He had a Night Goblin Big Boss for 45 points with Wallapa's One-Hit Wonder. By the end of this game, you'll understand why that item is going to catch my attention from now on, because damn. He had another Night Goblin Big Boss for 30 points who's butt naked, probably just took him so that he could take another unit of Fanatics. Orc Big Boss at 158 points. He was his BSB with the War Banner. He was on a War Boar, had light armor shields and the Dead Ard armor. And then he had an Orc Weird Knob at 200 points, who was a level 4 wizard with battle magic and the Idol of Mork. Making up his core of 811 points total was 18 Black Orcs, 404 points there, with full command, great weapon shield, full plate armor, and the big red sassy flag, or raggedy flag, my bad. He had another unit of 31 Night Goblins for 205 points, full command, 3 Fanatics, Netters, and Shields. And then another unit of 30 Night Goblins for 202 points, full command, 3 Fanatics, Netters, Shields. Then he had 190 points of rare, consisting of 2 Doom Diver Catapults. The spells I got for this one for Edamedagasi was Glittering Robes, Column of Crystals, Spectral Doppelganger, and Miasmic Mirage, or whatever. Bernice got Incantation of Desert Wind, Unquiet Spirits, Spiritual Vortex, and Spirit Leech. And then Baby Mage got Incantation of Cursed Blades and Travel Mystical Pathways. My opponent got Gaze of Gork, Fireball, Pillar of Flame, and Oaken Shield on one of his level 4s. I believe that was the Orc one. And then the Goblin one got Itchy Nuisance, Travel Mystical Pathways, Earthen Ramparts, and Wind Blast. Here's deployment, and it was kind of a denied flank type of situation. I ended up putting my Boshati on the hill, and he just kind of followed suit. And as soon as I saw where he was putting his Doom Divers, I was just like, well, screw it, we're all in. And yeah, I just kind of concentrated my army in the center there, figuring maybe I could start some sort of traffic jam and get targets of opportunity. And I wasn't wrong. With the exception of the Necrosphinx, I put him way over on the right side, trying to pull something over there onto the hill. I figured that was where he was going to put his Doom Divers, but when that didn't happen, I was like, well, my Necrosphinx is going to shoot across the table, try to get a hold of the, what's it called? The Doom Diver catapults, and then maybe turn around and get a rear charge on one of the goblins or any other target opportunity that might show up. On the left flank there, I've got my horse archers with Bernice. Behind them is Idametigasi with that useless Colossus next to the hill. On the hill are my Boshati. Next to them are the tiny unit of skeleton archers with Baby Mage. And then on the right side there is the Necrosphinx. Might as well have not brought him. On my opponent's side, our left, he's got his Night Goblins. They've got the naked Night Goblin Big Boss in there. Behind them is one of the catapults. Next to them is his boss on a Wyvern, the General. In the back there, towards the center-ish, is the other catapult. In front of them is a unit of Night Goblins. He's got a Big Boss in there, Night Goblin Big Boss in there with the Wallopa, as well as his level 4 Night Goblin Mage. And then next to them are the Black Orcs with his BSB on a War Pig and his Orc level 4 Wizard. That's pretty much it. We both have very dense, very condensed armies. Here's top of one after movement. His Black Orc Warboss on the Wyvern shoots straight forward going after the Boshati. He did measure to make sure he wasn't within 15 inches of the Mirage, and then he moved him up to 14.6 inches away from my Dragon. I don't know what he was thinking, but I wasn't going to correct him because it's a tournament, you know? He did get Travel Mystical Pathways off on his Brick of Goblins in the center there and moved him exactly where you see him. The other unit of Goblins just kind of marched up parallel with them, and the Black Orcs kind of held back a little bit. They only moved up a little bit because I think he wanted to cast. That was really it. In the shooting phase, I believe he gets the Ruby Ring of Ruin off, and he takes out one of my Horseman Archers, which isn't the greatest loss in the world, but it's still offensive. Then he casts Fireball on my Skeleton Archers, and he takes out 3. Again, not the huge big deal, but I wasn't thrilled about it. Despite my best efforts, he does get Pillar of Flame off, and then he fires his Doom Diver catapults. The first one on the left there, it doesn't do anything, but the second one targets the Boshati, and he misfires 1, destroying the Doom Diver, which is nice of him. I appreciate the gift. With that, we go over here to bottom of 1, and I bring my, well, one of the first things I do is I heal up all the wounds that he caused. Not a whole lot, but what I could do. I bring my, my serpents on the table with Idametigasi, and then I kind of move everything up. The idea is, with his general up on the Wyvern exposed, this is my chance to put as many wounds on him as possible. So I move Bernice up because she's got Unquiet Spirits. I move the Horseman Archers up. The Boshati stays still. The Archers stay still. Everything that can shoot at him is going to shoot at him. The only reason I did move Idametigasi up a little bit. He got Glittering Rose off. I get Incantation of Cursed Blades. I am set up for success. Even the Necrosphinx shoots in the middle of the table, getting ready to go after, well, the other Doom Diver Catapult or any target of opportunity, depending on how things go. We go into the shooting phase, and my archers start us off, and they're able to slip a wound through on the Wyvern. It's a good start. 6 to go. So Bernice takes Unquiet Spirits, gets it off on the Wyvern, on the Orc, right? I roll like 6 6s. I get 9 hits, 6 6s. I'm like, that's it. He's done. It's no armor save. He's got a 5-up ward, and I think a 5-up regen. He makes 5 of them, 4 or 5 of them, no problem. He only takes 2 more wounds. I couldn't believe it. But, well done. Well, good rolling. Good rolling. I did get Miasmic Mirage off so that his guy couldn't charge or anything like that. But I threw the Column of Crystal out there just so that if his Fanatics run into it, they die. Because I know they're coming. After the shooting phase, I do my reserve moves. The Archers and Bernice back off. The Snakes move up because they were in the range, and the Colossus moves up because I want to charge the Goblins. I figure the Snakes are probably dead, but then the Fanatics hopefully will stay near the board edge, over by his stuff. Maybe I could get lucky in my turn, and they run through his army, doing some wounds for me. I'm gambling, right? I'm gambling. It's all chance. But I figure at toughness 6. the Colossus has a good chance to survive it. So that's how I did my reserve movement. So here's top of 2, and just as we expected, his fanatics come bouncing out. Well, just one come out. He goes through the snakes, but it wasn't enough to hit the giant, so I got lucky there. But of course, he obliterates the snakes. Is what it is. His goblins do kind of move around a little bit. His orc war boss moves behind the column of crystal, or around it anyway, to get a better shot at the Ushapti, and stay out of my forward arc, so I can't cast the miasma on him again. Dang it, well played. His Black Orcs, though, do something I thought was interesting. They gave me his flank, the Necrosphinx, and I was like, yeah, they were going to fly past you, but that's too good of a charge to miss, so they're going to go in there and hopefully just cause all sorts of havoc, or die horribly, either way. And that's pretty much it for his movement. The only thing that happens in the shooting phase is he kind of concentrates fire on my horse archers, which is very smart. His Doom Diver, as you can see from Bernice, he targets that. We had a rules discussion about it, and it ended up deviating into the Ushapti, and I think he did a wound total to him. Wasn't a big deal. He kills like 4 of the horse archers, and that's really it for shooting. So nothing happens. There is no combat. We go over here to bottom of 2, and Itamedagasi and the giant go in. He does release the fanatics at the beginning of my turn. Totally smart thing to do. Itamedagasi takes a wound going in. The giant takes 3, but they both make it. Bernice did get Spirit Leech off on the unit of goblins to the right, which happened to have his caster in there. The idea, the hope, was that at -2 leadership, can't use the general's leadership, he fails his terror check, flees, and the giant's able to catch them, or they're way out of position. Neither of those things happened. He made his leadership check, no problem whatsoever, which devastated me. I was able to get another Scorpion off on the table and went up and got in front of the Black Orcs. The Necrosphinx charged in the flank of them because it was too good of a charge to pass up. I'm hoping that he's going to make it. And since his general is still there, I'm going to try to fire a whole bunch of shots off at him again. I did try to get Incantation of Cursed Blades and Desert Wind off, and both were stopped, which not great. So I put Bernice out there. It was really bad, I knew, to expose her like that, but I needed to get Unquiet Spirits off again to try to hurt his general. I wanted him dead before he could charge. I figure if the general dies, I can just start cleaning up everything else. It'll be just targets of opportunity at that point. So that was the idea in my head. That's why everything moved up, and I planned on dropping the column of crystal. So that was my turn, or movement anyway. Literally nothing goes my way. I shot all 8 Boshati at him, needing 4s to hit. I rolled 8 1-2s and 3. I'm not kidding. I shot every single one of my archers, and I think I wounded once, and he rolled a 6 to make his armor save. I rolled to cast Unquiet Spirits. I got, I think, 12 hits on him. Not 1 6. I was dumbfounded at how bad my luck was, how bad my rolls were. The horse archer shot, I think, 2 hit, no wounds. Unbelievable that happened. Just unflippin' believable that happened. So he's got a free shot into the Boshati, and there's nothing I can do about it. When the dice gods say you've got to take it on the chin, you take it on the chin. So we go into combat, and this Necrosphinx does well. I will give the Necrosphinx credit where it's due. It did very well. I got 6 wounds on him, or I did 6 total. I think I did 4 wounds. I had a flank and close order. He had banner shenanigans. I did not know this. He's got his BSB in there with the war banner. He's got his standard bearer in there with the Raggedy Ann banner. Both give him an extra +1. So we had 4 combat res in banners alone. He had close order, and he did a wound. It's 6-6. He has a musician. I lose by 1. I'm indomitable 1. I fall back, or I give ground 2 inches. And yeah, things are not going well at all. But this was a great kit. Very well played by my opponent. I should have been more familiar with the orcs and goblins. He's able to strain, and he turns to face me. We go into combat, and his Night Goblin Big Boss uses the one-shot Walloper or something like that. Hits all 3 times, wounds all 3 times. I don't make any saves. We do Timber. He beats me on that. The giant, I swear to God, Tomb King monsters and me just don't get along. I'm sure they're great for everyone else. For some reason, I can't use them to any effect at all.
We go into combat over here, and Itamedagasi, he does get his assailment spell off because I was stupid, and I did this one second. I should have done this one first, but I was stupid. So his caster was able to dispel, and I flubbed spectacularly. I think the dragon did a couple of wounds with Stomp, like 4 or 5. I lose combat, Indomitable 1, so I lose it by 1. I don't lose any more wounds, but I do fall back, or I give ground, and that's where I end up. I'm just I made some mistakes, but it should not have flubbed like this. This is ridiculous. So we go to top of 3, and my opponent does exactly what he should do. He goes after Bernice and nails her with his general, no problem. So she's as good as dead. His fanatics go through a bunch of stuff, kill a bunch of the horse archers. I don't think they hurt Itamedagasi, and if they did, it was like a wound. It wasn't a big deal. His goblins go into the flank of Itamedagasi, putting a ton of combat res in there. And then his Black Orcs charge and did a stupid well, that's not fair. Into the Necrosphinx, who did well, but the combat res from the banner shenanigans just is way overpowering. There's nothing I can do. He's got this. I had my chance, and the dice god said no. So yeah, that's. Oh, and he got Itchy Nuisance off Irresistible on my general. That's it. His Doom Diver hits the Scorpion and puts 2 wounds on him because, things weren't going his way well enough. But no, it was a good shot. I'm just whining the wine. And then we go into combat, and it's kind of neat. Bernice made all but one of her saves. As you can see, she made a ton of regen saves, but he only put like 1 wound on her. She survived. She would have survived. Of course, she does nothing to him because I can't roll higher to 2, and she's not really for combat. But in the end, he had like 6 combat res to, I think I had 1, maybe not. I think maybe he made a regen save, something ridiculous. Either way, she just poofs into dust. And I don't have a picture of it, but he does overrun into the Ushabti. He hits him right in the corner. Perfect position. I couldn't have helped him anymore. No, it's fine. Combat over here, the Black Orcs slaughter the Necrosphinx. It's not even close. I don't make any saves, because of course I don't make any saves. Not that I really had any. I only had a 6-up regen, maybe a 5-up. It doesn't matter. Might as well have been a 0, because, yeah, he just blows him into pieces. God, I hate the monsters. We go into combat here, and Itamedagasi does a little bit better. He does 8 wounds total. He does 8 combat res to 7. I win by 1, believe it or not. But as you can see, he took a ton of damage. That Inchy Nuisance really sucked. And he falls back in good order with both units. The goblins on the right, they go like 2 inches. I restrain and I turn to face because I'm like, cool, it's gonna be my turn next. I can heal him a wound or 2 hopefully, and be able to get back into this fight. The other unit moves like 9-10 inches, whatever that is, 8-9-10 inches, and they do turn around because they just fell back in good order. That takes us to bottom of 3. Itamedagasi is able to get Glittering Robes off, heal himself a wound. I wasn't close enough to get the extra, and with Bernice dead, that makes sense. He does charge into the goblins. I'm able to summon another Scorpion in during the strategic phase, and I move him up behind the goblins, thinking that maybe I can help out. Maybe I'll go into the general. We'll see. He's in the Ushabti, so who knows? But the fanatics run around. I think they hurt some goblins, maybe. Nothing significant, really. They do kill some more horse archers, that's true. So I'm down to 2, but they're gone. Bernice is gone. They're useless. And I've got Incantation of Cursed Blades off, but really I'm just going to shoot at the Black Orcs and do pretty much nothing to them. That's it. Nothing happens in the shooting phase, so I go straight into combat. Itamedagasi gets into combat with these goblins. He ends up beating up a Night Goblin Big Boss in a challenge. I get like 7 wounds on him or something like that, 7 combat res. He loses, but then he rolls like a 3 for his leadership, so he just gives ground. And I do end up following up. He gives ground, he's right there. I do follow up, and that's it. In the combat against Ushabti, the Ancient steps up and issues a challenge, and he obliterates him. The Ushabti unit champion dies, and after combat res, I think another one dies, which is unfortunate. They fall back in good order, they give ground, and then he restrains and turns to face Itamedagasi, which I'm like, oh, jeez. Here's top of 4, and when it rains, it pours. I know I'm not playing great and my opponent is playing beautifully, but honestly, I like watching the green skins win. It's probably because it reminds me of watching Shyhammer. I keep waiting to hear chicken head and what's going on YouTube. So I'm reminiscing. I'm actually having a pretty good time. But he plays very well. His general charges in Medigasi. His Black Orcs charge into the Tomb Scorpion that's already got 2 wounds on it. He rallies the goblins. They did flee. I apologize about that. He rallied them. They turned around no problem, and that's really it. In the shooting phase, his Doom Diver Catapult targets my other Tomb Scorpion and nails it and puts 2 wounds on him. It was a hell of a shot. And then we go into combat, and Medigasi does get his Assailant spell off, but he's Strength 3 currently, because I continued after him because it never occurred to me for a second that I was actually going to get slammed into. I do end up doing 2 more wounds to him in total, bringing the total up to 5, and of course he challenges. Nothing else happens. He, as you can see, has 11 combat res to my 3, and Medigasi eats all the crap and dies. I don't blame Medigasi. He actually did really, really well. I played him very poorly, and this is exactly what should have happened. This is my fault. And then we go into combat over here, and the Black Orcs murder the Scorpion like he doesn't even exist. Is what it is. That takes us to bottom of turn 4. I do my crumble checks after Medigasi dies, and at the beginning of my turn, I lose the Scorpion, I lose a bunch of Skeleton Archers, Baby Mage is fine, and I think I did 1 wound to the Boshati. So not terrible. Alls I've got left is my archers. The Boshati turn to Hail Mary, hopefully get 2 wounds through and kill his generals so that I feel like I did something. And my archers stay put with Baby Mage to maybe do some wounds to whatever. It is what it is. Yeah, nothing happens in my turn. I fail to hit with all 6 Ushapti. I mean, literally. And I think my archers hit, but he made all of his... Or they wounded, but they made all of his saves. We go to top of 5. He puts Itchy Nuisance on the Ushapti, and then he charges in with his general. We all know how that's going to go. The rest of his stuff moves up. I think his fanatics all die. Either they run into something, run off the table, or he rolls doubles. But as you can see, they're not on the table anymore. That's it. That's really it. In the shooting phase, his goblins that can see shoot at my archers and roll beautifully, killing all but one of my skeleton archers. It's okay. I'm about to make my move. Just wait. We go into combat, and of course his war boss does a ton of damage to the Ushapti. They do slip another wound through on him, so that was really, really good. I give ground, of course, and he follows up. So yeah, it's going downhill quick, but you know what? We're going down swinging. In bottom of 5, I roll for the Ushapti, and I way overroll, so of course I lose, I think I do 3 wounds to him. I kill the Mortuary Priest, I roll a 9, so he takes 2 wounds and dies. And then the Skeleton Archers, I think I rolled 11, and so they're gone too. So I've got 3 Ushapti left, and I'm trying here. I really am. I didn't play great, and the dice are definitely not on my team. We go into combat, and after combat res and everything like that, I've got 1 Ushapti left that gives ground and has a single wound. He follows up. That takes us over the top of 6, but there's really no movement. My opponent knows he needs to do 1 wound to an Ushapti. With Itchy Nuisance on him, it's pretty obvious what happens. We go to combat, and yeah, he puts a wound on an Ushapti, no problem whatsoever. And that's it. That's the end of the game. He tables me in the top of 6. I didn't play great. I'll be the first to admit it. And the dice, my dice were terrible. The Ushapti shooting at him 8 times and missing all 8 shots broke my spirit. Medigasi not being able to do anything, making bad decisions. Yeah, hindsight's 20/20, but and my opponent played beautifully. Really, really well played. I enjoyed it too. We were laughing, having a good time the whole time. And yeah, it is what it is. This was a devastating loss, though, especially considering it was Game 6 of the online tournament.
Oh, man. Sometimes you're the hammer, and sometimes you're the nail, and today, I got nailed. My opponent played very well. Didn't have a flashy army or crazy meta or anything like that. He had a very solid, well-rounded list, and he played it very well. And he did exactly what he should have done. He beat my ass. The dice gods did forsake me, absolutely. Rolling 8 dice to shoot his wyvern with my Boshati and rolling nothing higher than a 3 was devastating. But then again, I rolled really good. I think I rolled 6 or 7 wounds on him with Unquiet Spirits, and he made all but one of his saves, needing 5s. It was just insane. The dice gods didn't like me and apparently very much favored him. And you know what? Sometimes that's going to happen. It's totally fine. I did make a mistake leaving Bernice exposed. It was calculated. He had 3 wounds on his general, and I thought with Unquiet Spirits, maybe the Ruby Ring of Ruin, the Boshati, and the archers, I should be able to take down at least 3 more wounds on him. Just rough math, and I wasn't wrong. My opponent just made saves that I wasn't expecting, and I'm not that good at math or this game. Nothing went my way. Every time I tried to turn something around or do something, I just got slapped in the mouth. Itameta was the only exception to that, and just barely. And unfortunately, when it came to fighting his lord, I did get my assailment spell off, but I only did 4 hits, and needing 4s, only 1 wound, and of course he made a save. I just could not win. But that all being said, my opponent was a real good guy the entire game. Empathetic, sympathetic, understood, has been there, you know. And no, I think, honestly, he might have even started to back down before we talked about it. It was like, dude, I was trying to table you. This is a tournament. Take me out. And he did. And we had a good time. We were laughing. He was laughing. Maybe at me. I don't know. But I'm just kidding. It was a lot of fun, and I have no bad thoughts. This guy was a really good opponent. We've all been on this side of the fence. We all know what it feels like when the dice gods decide that ones are your new favorite with the exception of leadership. And, you know, we just got to power through. Can't be upset, though, watching the greenskins smash you to bits. Just there's something about the green tide just raffle stomping your army. It's kind of hilarious. This was a really good game. And the worst loss I've taken the tournament with a 20-0 loss. Well played by my opponent. The king is not going to invite me to his Christmas party if I keep this up. The tithe was low. I only got 2 Night Goblin big bosses out of his characters. In core, I'm going to take it. The 6 fanatics we're picking up. I got 21 of his Night Goblins and 4 Black Orcs. Just could not put wounds on him. Nothing from special because he didn't take any, and 1 Doom Diver Catapult that my opponent graciously misfired 1 in early in the game to give me some more bones. That's it. Woo! I'm sorry, King Botep. The demons and the warrior tithe is still there. The warriors are still a little sparse. I'm going to have to work on that. My Wood Elf bounty's still looking good, though, and the Tomb King one isn't great, but it's not terrible. At least there's a dragon there.
And that's it. That's the end of this one. Another battle report is in the history books. Oof, devastating, but still a good game. As always, though, if you have any questions, comments, concerns, or complaints, feel free to put them in the comment section below, and I'll get back to you as quick as I can. And as always, thanks!